Welcome back to Worldview. Now, the last time we spoke with David A. Love, it was just after the Florida jury verdict freed the killer of 17-year-old black teenager Trayvon Martin. David last week wrote a column for the NBC affiliate website, thegrio.com, and he commented on President Obama's speech on the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington and Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech.
In the face of impossible odds, people who love their country can change it. And when millions of Americans of every race and every region, every faith and every station can join together in a spirit of brotherhood, then those mountains will be made low, and those rough places will be made plain, and those crooked places, they straighten out towards grace, and we will vindicate the faith of those who sacrifice so much and live up to the true meaning of our creed as one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wanted to talk about his article because David was not very pleased with the performance of the USA's first African-American president. So David A. Love, welcome back to Worldview.
Hello, Dennis. Thanks for having me. Good to see you again.
Good to have you back. Let's dive right in here. Now, you say President Obama's March on Washington speech last week wasn't bad, but it wasn't so great either. So what was it about the president's speech that upset you?
Well, I think that going into this, there was a lot riding on President Obama's performance. Now, granted, he had a tough act to follow to begin with. I mean, this is Martin Luther King. And this is, what we're talking about is just about the most outstanding speech ever given in modern history. So Obama himself tried to tamp down expectations. And, granted, he's in a different position from Dr. King. After all, Dr. King is was a visionary. Obama is a politician, and that comes with limitations. But I think that if you are going to invoke the name and legacy of Dr. King, you have to follow everything that Dr. King believed in. And I think that in many ways he fell short. There was a lot of rhetoric from the president, but when it comes to substance, I didn't really see it. I thought it was more of a commemorative, feel-good speech, but not really getting into some of the nitty-gritty of what Dr. King stood for.
You actually called it symbolic in the article, saying that Obama squandered a unique opportunity to demonstrate leadership on civil rights and to articulate King's message and honestly assess how far we've fallen short. Talk a little bit about, where we have fallen short and what more he could have done.
I think that aside from the fact that the president failed to bring up the things that his administration is doing, the positive things that his administration is doing in terms of voting rights and trying to secure the voting rights of people in places such as Texas, he really failed to articulate the things that Dr. King stood for. We have to remember that when King was assassinated, he was in Memphis. He was fighting for the rights of striking sanitation workers. Obama did mention that things are pretty bad for a lot of people in terms of falling wages and job opportunities and unemployment, but he really didn't emphasize how bad things are in this country. The fact that not only are we falling short on the so-called American dream, but the U.S. is actually behind the rest of the Western industrialized world when it comes to income inequality. That's something that he should bring attention to. Not that the president can solve all these problems. Obviously, there are economic forces at work and a recalcitrant Congress, but he had an opportunity to really motivate the troops, to really get them to thinking about these issues, and I think it was really a squandered opportunity.
But, in your article, you say that words without action mean little, and leaders inspire by what they say and by what they actually do, and they mobilize others to do. Now, if I understand what you're saying here, it's almost as if you feel as if he has to sort of pick up the mantle from Dr. King. How do you do that if you're also the President of the United States, and in essence, the leader of the free world.
Yes, it is a challenge, and I don't think that there's any other way of putting it. But he was the person who invoked Dr. King, and that's why I think it's particularly Obama being the first black president, it's viewed that he has a responsibility to pick up that mantle. I think that it may be unrealistic, but there's a lot riding on this. I mean, he is a Nobel Peace Prize recipient, as was Dr. King. But at the same time, he's interested in bombing Syria, and that's a fundamental conflict. Dr. King was vehemently opposed to war, and in his later days spoke out vociferously against the Vietnam War. And I think one could argue that was one of the reasons why people turned against him. So it is tough being a politician and trying to aspire to the ways of a visionary and a prophet. But then again, you're the president, you have the bully pulpit, you have a lot of power, you're the most powerful person in the country. Why not do whatever you can to aspire to the words and actions of Dr. King?
One of the things that always intrigues me about, him, being African American and being the first African American to be in, as the president, and also let's remember that he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, within his first couple of days in office. I think he was awarded it for winning the election more than anything else, and being, any sort of a counterpoint to George W. Bush. So, they often say that, until you actually sit in that chair and get that first, oh my God, presidential briefing of what's going on around the world, there's something going on that, you don't really understand what is in that role. And I guess the question I have here is, how does any president respond to urgency of the moment, as Dr. King called it, and as you said, and articulate a need for action when you're dealing with so many issues, and in essence, you're not just serving, and I don't believe in, for a minute that King was either, you're not just serving the African American community, you're serving everybody.
Yes, and that's a very great point. Now, in Obama's case, clearly the African American community is the core of his base, but he also won with a broad base of support from a diverse constituency, and those people are with him. What he needs to do is rally troops, and I mean all of them, this multiracial coalition, which really reflects the new America, and the people who are against him, the reactionary forces. I mean, yeah, they have power now, but they, in the 50s and 60s, they also had the power. But it was through the mobilization of people, dedication, and unfortunately, in some cases, bloodshed that really turned things around. And we would hope to have a peaceful revolution, peaceful transition, so to speak. But one thing that you really need are dedicated, mobilized people. And I think that a majority of the people are with Obama. He just has to, has to channel the energy that people have, and get them on his side. Because really, politicians can't do things. They can't get things done without visible public support. And the reactionary forces are just living on borrowed time.
It is such a complex issue. I thank you for being such a good sport here, David. We've been talking with David A. Love of the Witness to Innocent Project on Worldview Show. And, I really always enjoy having you here, because it's good for us to keep these discussions out there and moving forward.
Oh, yes. And, it's great to be with you again anytime.
Many thanks. And David joined us today from his home and office in Philadelphia. You're watching Worldview with Dennis Campbell. Stay right here.